I have always followed politics. I grew up in Washington, D.C., and was obsessed with the three branches of government through my college years. But then, the further I got away from it, the better I felt. It is a dreadful swamp that doesn't attract our best and our brightest, but rather our most driven and depraved. But now, from a distance, I am tired of hearing New Age numbskulls, nitwits, and nincompoops decrying the deep state. Oh yes, the deep state. Democracy is threatened by the deep state. Everyone knows doomsday is near because of the deep state. What exactly is the deep state? Ever met anybody from the deep state? Wouldn't you think eventually a former deep stater would write their memoir? Most people uttering deep state cannot even define it. So what is the deep state? It supposedly is a secret network of public and private individuals operating in the dark corridors to run the government illicitly. Okay, deep state disciples, find them for me. Just one. Until then, keep all your deep state dogma about clandestine, elitist, shadowy, monolithic, entrenched, shameful, underground controlling forces to yourself, or I will go gambling mad! Norman Chad. Norman Chad. Norman Chad. Norman Chad. Norman Chad. And welcome to Gambling Mad with Norman Chad. I am Norman Chad. Gambling Mad, as always, brought to you by Fritos, picked daily, fresh off of Central California trees each morning, direct to your retailer each afternoon. And by Fresca, refreshing, remarkable, it's Fresca. Fritos and Fresca, it's a meal. Coming up on today's show, on my NFL picks, I'm taking the Raiders. Why? Because I'm an idiot. Memo to TV folks, get your stats out of my face. And how much would you pay for a postage stamp? But first, let's discuss the fascinating phenomena of University of Hawaii football and gambling. Even in this decadent age in which you can gamble on any game, anytime, anywhere, and at any point during the game due to in-game lines, Hawaii football remains a unicorn of sorts. At the end of any long college football Saturday, after the dozens and dozens of games are over and sports bettors are counting their losses, there is one more opportunity to get your money back: Hawaii football. Hawaii is 3 hours behind West Coast time. It's 6 hours behind the East Coast. So when you're miserable at midnight in New York City, a Hawaii Rainbow Warriors game is kicking off in Honolulu to brighten your blues. As it turns out, bookies and sports books take a lot of action on Hawaii football. So much so that, according to the Washington Post, Hawaii now is considering creating its own TV deal a la Notre Dame. And why not? Hawaii games have no other live sports competition when they are played. It's the only thing you can gamble on at that hour, and gamblers love watching their money in action. Why not monetize it? This is America. And we let Hawaii into America back in 1959 as our 50th state. It's time for someone there to finally get a bigger piece of our pie. By the way, I got into an argument with a pea-brained friend of mine recently who claimed Hawaii was the 49th state and Alaska was the 50th state. I told him, listen, you huckadoodle, if that was the case, then that TV police drama way back when would have been called Hawaii 4-9, not Hawaii 5-0. How hard is this? Hey, Dodger fans! What the hell are you doing? What is your problem? If you have any anger management problems, that's why we have a therapist on every other block here in Los Angeles. Okay, you're throwing baseballs and beer cans out onto the field during the National League Division Series? Very creative. Baseballs and beer cans. At least throw something out onto the field that is LA-centric, like shoe lifts or movie scripts, okay? This is why I do not go to games anymore. Forget Dodger games. I don't go to any games anymore. Well, that and the fact that I never leave my house, except when Popeyes has a really good 3-piece combo deal special, like $7.99. It's a steal. Degens gonna degen. Case number 1. A Hampton County, Massachusetts sheriff drove to MGM Springfield Casino recently, drunk in a police SUV with a missing tire. That's the hat trick. DUI, official vehicle, missing tire. According to the Boston Globe, 51-year-old Nick Kochi was arrested at the casino when he left a Ford Explorer in the valet area, and he left the engine running. The SUV was missing its right front tire. Inside the vehicle was cash, a set of golf clubs, and a wallet with his police ID. The sheriff ended up in court pleading guilty to his actions. Kochi's driver's license was suspended for 45 days. He was placed on probation for 1 year. He was also fined $600 and suspended from work without pay for 3 days. Okay, $600 and 3 days pay? He probably did worse in the casino. Degen's gonna degen. Degen's gonna degen. Case number 2. In Oklahoma, Cody Adams had a court appearance in Pawnee County on car theft charges. He was in Stillwater that day, about 30 minutes away from the court, and he was asking customers at a gas station if anyone could give him a lift. He could not find a ride. So, according to KOCO News 5, Adams found an unoccupied LifeNet Emergency Services pickup truck with the key in the ignition, and he drove that to court. All right. Let me see if I can make this abundantly clear to you people. A man facing car theft charges decided to steal a car to get to his court hearing. A highway patrolman caught Adams as he was entering the courthouse. Adams made it to the hearing, and then he was taken to Payne County and booked on new car theft charges. Degen's gonna degen. Speaking of Oklahoma, its school superintendent announced this year that all of the state's public schools would be required to teach the Bible. The superintendent, Ryan Walters, called the Bible, quote, a necessary historical document to teach our kids about the history of this country, end quote. I don't want to get in an argument with this educator. But personally, I would prefer books on U.S. history to teach kids the history of the U.S. before I would recommend the Bible. But don't get me wrong, I am a big fan of the Bible, as is Donald Trump. Speaking of which, so Oklahoma, because of this, decided it needs to buy 55,000 Bibles to put in their classrooms. They accepted proposals from various Bible sellers. The books must include the Declaration of Independence, and they have to be leather-bound or use leather-like material. Guess what? Donald Trump's God Bless the USA Bible met both of these requirements at $59.90 each. Cha-ching! Trump-branded Bibles are making their way to Oklahoma, and $3.3 million are making its way to Mar-a-Lago. The man can close a deal. It is now time for our NFL picks. Last week, we were 3-1-1. Our season record now 8-6-1. I told you, we do better than the other people, and you lose less when you stick with Gambling Mad. You know, how do I do it? Well, when it comes to NFL handicapping, I have a green thumb. I have a green thumb. I know what I'm talking about. All right? 8-6-1 on the year. All right, let's get to it. Cardinals at the favored Packers. Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray has the running thing down. He just doesn't have the passing thing down. He's thrown for more than 200 yards in just 2 games this season. You know, a quarterback must know how to pass. It is in the job description. Quote, must be able to pass, end quote. Okay, here's a number for you. The Packers at home have an all-time record of 467, 237, and 20. The average score of a game at Lambeau Field is 22.1 to 16.7 in favor of the Packers. Now, if you're wondering about that, back in the 1950s, they used to keep score to the decimal point. Anyway, at home, the Packers historically win by 5.4 points. They are favored this week by 5 points. You do the math. Take the Packers -5. Texans at Patriots. Texans are big favorite here. The Patriots are averaging 12 points a game. This is not good. Only the Dolphins are worse. The Patriots have lost 4 straight games. This is not good. The only team they've beaten, the Bengals, also is 1-4. The Patriots no longer have Bill Belichick as their coach. This is not good. Belichick is now doing gambling commercials. The Patriots' most productive offensive player has been running back Ramondre Stevenson. Yeah, that Ramondre Stevenson. This is not good. Stevenson has fumbled 4 times in 5 games. All of this points to taking the Texans. It's a big number for a young team on the road, but I'm going to pick Houston here as a touchdown favorite. Commanders at Ravens. Ravens running back Derrick Henry is headed to the Hall of Fame. He already has surpassed 10,000 career rushing yards in just his 9th season. But I thought he was done. He's almost 31 years old. Over 30 running backs are like over 65 actuaries. They lose a step. Henry is averaging 114 yards rushing per game this season. That will end on Sunday. The Commanders will surprise the Ravens. They'll take an early lead, and that means Lamar Jackson is going to have to do his thing. Jackson will do his thing, but the Commanders will keep this game within a touchdown. How do I know this? I am a left-handed genius. Oh, my left hand. I am a left-handed genius. You got it. Take Washington plus 6.5. Time for the calendar pick of the week. Woo! Steelers at Raiders. That is going to be a game with a lot of fighting. Let's talk about the estranged Raiders wide receiver Davante Adams for a moment. He wants out of Las Vegas. He missed last week's game with a hamstring injury. That injury started in his head, and then it traveled slowly down his body till it reached the hamstring by kickoff. It's like the time I told my mother that I had conjunctivitis, and I had to look that up. I told her I had conjunctivitis because I didn't want to have to climb the ropes in phys ed that day. The Raiders stink. They lost to the Carolina Panthers, for goodness sakes. Last week, the Broncos scored 34 straight points against the Raiders. But as I have told you before, teams bounce in the NFL. And I've got a gut feeling about this one like I had just before Joe Jonas and Sophie Turner broke their thing. Terrible divorce. The Raiders improbably will upset the Steelers. Take the Raiders +3. Finally, Lions at Cowboys. The Cowboys, America's former team. Underdogs at home. That's unusual because they have such a large national fan base. But the Cowboys, they've beaten the Lions 6 straight times. And the Cowboys are 4-1 lifetime on weeks in which Jerry Jones has a colonoscopy. He had one Monday, clean as a whistle. I'd like to send out a wake-up call to Cowboys receiver CeCe Lamb. Either show up or stay home. He just signed a 4-year, $136 million contract, and he has only 25 receptions on 41 targets through 5 games. You are in the National Football League, son. Act like it. Take the Cowboys +3.5. When I first moved to this sleepy town of Los Angeles in the 1990s, Ralph's grocery chain was fined twice by the State Consumer Board for charging a different price at the register than was advertised on the shelves. One of those instances, they were fined $25,000. It felt like a slap on the wrist for years of price deception, $25,000. This brings us up to Albertsons, another supermarket giant. They own Albertsons, Vons, and Safeway stores. They were just nailed for 2 indiscretions in California. One, like Ralph's did 30-some years ago, for charging customers a higher price at checkout than was advertised. And 2, for packing meats, baked goods, and other items with less weight than indicated on the label. So let's say you'd purchase a 2.5-pound package of chicken thighs, but in actuality, inside that package was only 2.2 pounds. This is rather dismaying from a customer standpoint. Well, this time, no slap on the wrist. California fined Albertsons $3.9 million for ripping off customers. But where does that money go? Okay, so I understand in this instance, it obviously just couldn't be returned to all the customers who were affected. So instead, 7 California counties will divide the money to help support and enforce consumer protection laws. To which I say, please. I wasn't born yesterday on a turnip truck. Now, I'm not saying these county agencies are going to use the windfall for, say, more lavish holiday parties. But hey, this money is just going to get lost and shuffled and misspent in a bureaucratic quagmire. Is it me or is it them? Is it me or is it them? Them. Thank you, it's them. My sporting friends, we have reached capacity on statistical overload dumped onto us during game telecasts. They will put up the win probability for each team right there on the screen for every moment of the game. I don't need that. They'll put up the probability that a batter will get on base right there on the screen. I don't need that. They'll put up the catch probability of a pass after a wide receiver makes the reception right there on the screen. I don't need that. By the way, I hate to sound stupid. Check that. I actually love sounding stupid. But what would be the catch probability of someone catching a pass after he has caught the pass? 100%! Bingo bango! Stop burying us in statistical debris and analytical claptrap. Hey, you can't even spell analytical without anal. I am 100% certain of that. Before we wrap up, I'm going to say this one time and one time only. Stop nickel and diming us on the price of stamps. Yes, postage stamps. Who, you might ask, still uses the U.S. Postal Service? I do. Who, you might ask, is still mailing letters? I do. The price of mailing a letter in the United States has doubled in the last 25 years. That I really don't mind, and I'll tell you why in a moment. What I do mind is that the price has changed 18 times this century. That's almost annually. It's gone from 34 cents to 37 cents to 39 to 41 to 42 to 44 to 45 to 46 to 49, then back down to 47, then to 49, then to 50 to 55 to 58 to 60 to 63 to 66, and now this year it's now 68 cents. Enough with these irritating 1 and 2 cent increases every year. Okay, the Postal Service needs more revenue to operate profitably? Fine. Just cut to the chase and make a stamp $1. $1. $1 is a bargain to send a birthday card from Southern California to Northern Maine. But enough of these penny-pinching price hikes. Speaking of pennies, hey. I will deal with the penny on a future Gambling Mad. And that will do it for this edition of Gambling Mad with Norm and Chad. Hope we see you again next time. And remember, if you're going to roll the dice, make sure they're loaded. Hey, can we give them a bonus segment today?
Yeah.
Can we? Yeah.
You want to do a bonus segment?
A bonus segment, because today's a real special day for one of my overlooked colleagues here at Gambling Mad. I'm sorry, what's his name? Asher, who works with us. You know, we don't have much of a budget here at Gambling Mad, so we can't go after Ivy League business school graduates. Instead, we hire guys like Asher. He has no last name, but it's not like Prince or Madonna or Beyonce. He literally has no last name. But we're happy to have him for as long as we're going to have him. Asher, can you come on up?
All right.
Let's introduce you to the people. Nice to see you.
Always a pleasure, Norm.
Now, I'm told, did we get you from Disneyland, Disney World? Where did we get you from?
Yeah, I work at Disneyland when I'm not here. I'm in Galaxy's Edge and Mickey's Toontown.
You actually get to go in Mickey's Toontown.
Oh, yeah, I've got the full uniform and everything.
So how does a day there compare to a day here?
About to say, I mean, there's definitely a lot more building of droids and handing out stickers and buttons there. But I work with about an equal amount of wires in both, I've found.
Okay, here, before we talk about what you do, what was your official job? Do you have an official job title here?
I've got like 3 different titles here I've learned. I'm a technician, I'm an editor for your show, as well as just a general assistant to everybody.
Okay, we'll get it down to 2. Editor for my show, we might drop out of the rotation, just to give you more time to focus on other stuff. So with those 3 jobs, what do you do here?
Oh, man. So here, I mean, I can range from walking the dog to editing full episodes of podcasts. I work with cameras. I set up. Today, I helped set up your setup today. Got the cameras and the mic set up. Mostly technical work.
Okay, mostly technical. You mentioned walking the dog. Why would there be dogs where at work?
Oh, well, we happen to have a lot of animals here in the studio. Yeah, on a general basis, the past week we've had like 5 animals in here at a time. The 3 kittens, we got Bree's dog, and we've got Rick and Ange's dog. We got a lot of animals.
Are you currently doing an RFK Jr. podcast?
No.
Okay, I'd never seen so many animals in a workspace.
They're alive.
No, that's impressive. So anyway, I am told that today is your birthday.
Yes, it is.
How old are you, son?
I am 25.
25. Okay, good. Yeah. I was 25 once. Good. Any plans for the coming year?
For the coming year? I mean, I've only been out in Los Angeles for about a year now, and I'm just trying to keep doing what I'm doing. I love being here in the studio. I love working for you.
Well, I'm glad you love working for me, and we'll see how that works out over the next couple of weeks. But we have gotten you happy birthday, Ashton. Oh, no, they misspelled it. They said Asher. Oh, no, it is Asher. Happy birthday, Asher.
Oh, my goodness.
Isn't that sweet?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This is so nice.
And let me just tell you that, I know things might not work out here, but if you're gone by the end of the month and your performance reviews have been spotty, you can always list me as a reference.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Norm.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Seriously, this is so nice.
There, Kate.
Gambling Mad with Norm Chad is written by Norm Chad and ghostwritten by Norm Chad. Executive producer John Scheinberg, Rick Barrio-Dill, and produced by Norm Chad and Rick Barrio-Dill. Associate producer is Bree Cleary. Showrunner is Dan Telfer. Audio, video, engineering, and studio facilities provided by 360 Pod Studios Beverly Hills and Slap Studios LA. If you want to complain to Norm about anything, make sure to reach out at Gambling Mad Show anywhere you get your socials and at Gambling Mad with Norm Chad on YouTube. And if you really want to get at him, send a message to info@slapstudiosla.com. And big thanks to Tony, the special sauce, who truly is the boss. Thank you for the cookies and the treats. We promise you to make the post-production move faster.